The November rain drummed steadily against the windows of Rose's Cafe in Brooklyn's Park Slope neighborhood. Sarah Mitchell glanced at her phone for what felt like the 100th time. 7:45 p.m. 45 minutes late. She exhaled slowly, feeling that familiar weight of disappointment settling in her chest. She should have known better. Ever since coming out at 26, the blind dates arranged by well-meaning friends always seemed to end the same way, with her sitting alone, wondering why she'd agreed to try again. The cafe was nearly deserted on this rainy Wednesday evening. Just an elderly couple in the corner and a barista organizing mugs behind the counter. Sarah fidgeted with her paper napkin, tearing small pieces while trying to decide whether to order another latte or simply leave. Her best friend, Rebecca, had been so insistent this time. "Sarah, I swear she's different. You two will hit it off. She's a lawyer, smart, gorgeous, and looking for something real." Sarah had given in more because of her friend's persistence than any real hope. She grabbed her purse, ready to leave, when the cafe door opened with a jingle of bells. A small girl, about 7 or 8 years old, rushed inside. She wore a lavender dress with butterfly patterns, pink sneakers, and carried a backpack shaped like a bunny. Her blonde hair was pulled into 2 pigtails, and her blue eyes scanned the room anxiously. "Hey, if you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next." The girl stopped when her eyes found Sarah. With impressive determination for someone so small, she walked straight to the table. "Are you Sarah?" she asked, slightly breathless. Sarah blinked in surprise. "I am... yes. And you are..." "I'm Emma," the girl announced, as if that explained everything. Then, with the seriousness of someone delivering a very important message, she added, "My mom sent me to tell you she's on her way. She's really, really sorry she's late." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. "Your... Mom?" "Yes." Her car broke down on the Brooklyn Bridge. She was freaking out because she couldn't call you and was afraid you'd leave. Emma spoke quickly, gesturing with her hands. "She said if you left, she'd understand, but she'd be super sad because she was really excited to meet you." Sarah felt a mixture of emotions: surprise, confusion, and something she hadn't expected to feel. Relief. So she hadn't been stood up. And the woman she was about to meet had a daughter. "Okay, breathe," Sarah said, more to herself than to the girl. "Is your mom okay? Are you both okay?" "We're fine. She got help from a tow truck driver. She sent me ahead in an Uber to tell you. She said she'll be here in 5 minutes. Emma smiled, showing a gap where her front tooth should be. "You came alone in an Uber?" Sarah asked, concerned. "Mom talked to the driver and sent Grandma his license plate. And I'm 8 years old, not a baby anymore," Emma responded proudly, climbing onto the chair across from Sarah without being invited. "Can I sit? My legs hurt from standing." Sarah couldn't help but laugh. "Of course you can." The barista approached with a smile. "What'll it be, young lady?" Emma looked at Sarah, as if asking permission. Sarah nodded. A hot chocolate with whipped cream, please, and another latte for me. While they waited for their drinks, Emma pulled a sketchbook from her backpack. Mom said while she's not here, I can't tell you too much about her because it would ruin the surprise of the date. But I can draw. You like to draw? Love it. When I grow up, I'm going to be an artist, or a veterinarian, or both. Emma began drawing with crayons. What do you do? I'm a high school English teacher. Emma's eyes lit up. Really? You must know tons of stories. I know a few, Sarah smiled. Do you like to read? I do. Mom reads to me every night before bed. Right now we're reading Charlotte's Web. It's so good. The drinks arrived, and Emma took a sip of her hot chocolate, leaving a whipped cream mustache. Sarah handed her a napkin, and the girl wiped her face, giggling. You know, Emma said with the brutal honesty of children, my mom was super nervous today. She changed her outfit like 10 times, and she's never nervous. She's a lawyer and talks in front of judges and everything. Sarah felt her stomach flutter, but it was a good flutter, anticipation. Really? Yep. She said you seem really special, and that she hasn't felt this way in a long time. Emma tilted her head. Are you nervous too? Sarah considered for a moment before answering honestly. I am. Meeting new people always gives you butterflies. But are they good butterflies or bad butterflies? I think the good kind, Sarah admitted, surprised by her own answer. The cafe door opened again, and this time a woman rushed in, completely soaked from the rain that had intensified. She held a bouquet of sunflowers. The flowers were a bit crushed and wet, but still beautiful. Sarah knew immediately who she was. Jennifer Hayes was about 5'7", with shoulder-length auburn hair now plastered to her face from the rain, and hazel eyes that met Sarah's with a mixture of relief and nervousness. She wore a teal blouse, dark jeans, and brown boots. Even drenched and visibly stressed, she was stunning. I'm so sorry, so sorry, so sorry, Jennifer said, approaching quickly. I know this is the worst first impression ever, but my car literally died on the bridge and Mom, I already explained everything, Emma interrupted. And look, she didn't leave. Jennifer looked at her daughter, then at Sarah, and let out a half-nervous, half-relieved laugh. Thank you for waiting, and sorry for sending Emma ahead. I know it wasn't the most conventional introduction to a blind date, but I was desperate. Sarah stood up, smiling. It's okay. Things happen. And Emma was great company. That's right. We're already friends, Emma confirmed, continuing her drawing. Jennifer handed the sunflowers to Sarah with an embarrassed smile. I bought these beautiful flowers, but then came the rain and, well, now they look like they survived a war. Sarah took the bouquet, feeling something warm spread through her chest. Sunflowers were her favorite flowers. They're perfect. Thank you. Mom, sit down. You're dripping on the floor, Emma pointed out. Jennifer laughed and sat down, running her hands through her wet hair in an attempt to fix it. I must look like a swamp creature. You look beautiful, Sarah said before thinking, and then felt her cheeks flush. Jennifer blinked, surprised, and then smiled, a genuine, warm smile that lit up her entire face. You too, even more beautiful than in your photos. They stared at each other for a moment, until Emma cleared her throat dramatically. Are you guys just going to stare or are you going to talk? Because I brought a book to read while you chat, but I don't want to be here all night. I have school tomorrow." Both women laughed, and the tension dissolved. The barista brought hot tea for Jennifer, who thanked him while wrapping her hands around the mug to warm up. The rain continued falling outside, creating a cozy atmosphere inside the cafe. "So," Jennifer began, still a bit awkward, "Rebecca must have told you about me. She said you're a lawyer, funny, and that we had a lot in common," Sarah replied. But she forgot to mention one important detail. Jennifer looked at Emma, who was focused on her drawing. "Ah, that. It's not a problem," Sarah said quickly. "Just unexpected." "An unexpected good or unexpected bad?" Jennifer asked, echoing the question Emma had asked earlier. Sarah smiled. "Good. Definitely good." Jennifer visibly relaxed. "Rebecca wanted me to tell you beforehand, but I asked her not to say anything. A lot of women run away when they find out I have a daughter, and I wanted at least a chance at a first impression before you decided if this was too much for you." "I understand," Sarah said gently, "but just for the record, I'm not the running away type." "That's good to know," Jennifer smiled. Folks, if you're following along with this story and want to see what happens next, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's quick and helps us out so much. Emma looked up from her drawing. "Can I ask a question?" "Sure," Sarah said. "Have you ever dated someone who had kids before?" "Emma!" Jennifer scolded, but Sarah laughed. "It's okay. And no, I've never dated someone with kids, but that doesn't mean I'm not open to it." "Cool." Because if you and my mom start dating, we're going to spend a lot of time together, so it's good to know if you like kids. "Emma, we just met," Jennifer said, visibly embarrassed. "You don't need to plan the wedding yet." "I'm not planning a wedding, Mom. I'm just being practical," Emma responded, returning to her drawing as if she hadn't just made both women completely uncomfortable. Sarah decided to change the subject. "Jennifer, Rebecca told me you work in family law." "That's right." Divorces, child custody, alimony. It's not always cheerful, but it's important work. Jennifer took a sip of tea. "And you teach English at a high school?" "Yes, at Brooklyn Tech. I've been there for 5 years. "You must have the patience of a saint," Jennifer commented. "Teenagers aren't easy." "They're great, actually. They just need someone who really listens to them." Sarah stirred her latte. "And there's something special about watching a student fall in love with a book." "It's like you've opened a door to a whole new world." "I wish I'd had a teacher like you," Jennifer said sincerely. "My high school English teacher just assigned boring worksheets. I never understood why everyone said Shakespeare was good until I read it on my own, years later." "Shakespeare is incredible," Sarah got excited. "People think classics are boring because nobody teaches them right. If you contextualize, show that those stories talk about things we still experience today." "Like what?" Emma asked, interested. "Like, have you read Romeo and Juliet?" "No, it's too big for me still." "Well, it's about 2 teenagers who fall in love, but their families hate each other, so they have to meet in secret. It's about how sometimes the people we love aren't always accepted by everyone around us. Like when Tommy in my class said 2 girls can't like each other, but my mom said that's not true? Emma asked. Sarah and Jennifer exchanged a look. Exactly like that, Sarah said gently. Love is love no matter who it's between. Emma nodded, satisfied, and went back to her drawing. Jennifer watched Sarah with a smile on her lips. You're good at this, making things interesting. It's because she really cares, Mom, Emma commented. My math teacher last year didn't care about math at all. You could tell. And how can you tell when someone cares or not? Sarah asked, curious about the girl's perspective. By their eyes. When you talk about books, your eyes shine, like Mom's eyes when she tells me she won a difficult case. The 2 women exchanged a glance, and Sarah felt that strange sensation again, like something inside her was clicking into place. The conversation flowed naturally after that. They talked about movies. Both loved Pixar animations. Music. Jennifer liked classic rock. Sarah preferred indie folk. Food. Both were addicted to pizza. Emma participated occasionally, adding funny comments or asking unexpected questions that made both adults laugh. Have you guys been in love before? Emma asked at one point, and Jennifer almost spit out her tea. Emma, that's a very personal question. But you're on a date. Dates are for getting to know the person, right? Sarah looked at Jennifer, who seemed mortified, and decided to answer. Yes, I have. A few times. And you know what I learned? What? That sometimes things don't work out, and that's okay. It means that person wasn't the right one, and we keep looking until we find someone who is. And do you think my mom might be the right person? Emma asked with the brutal innocence of an 8-year-old. Jennifer buried her face in her hands. I officially apologize on behalf of my daughter. Sarah laughed, but her answer was sincere. I don't know yet, Emma. We just met. But I'd really like to find out. Jennifer looked up, and there was something vulnerable in her eyes. Really? Really, Sarah confirmed. Emma clapped her hands. Yay. That means you guys will have more dates? If Sarah wants to, Jennifer said softly, not taking her eyes off Sarah. I want to, Sarah answered, feeling her heart race. The rain began to let up outside, and Emma yawned. What time is it? Jennifer checked her watch. 9:30. Way past your bedtime, young lady. But we're having fun. I know, sweetie, but you have school tomorrow. Jennifer looked at Sarah with regret. I'm going to have to go. It's okay. I understand. Sarah stood up too. It was really nice meeting you both. Wait, Emma said, tearing the page from her sketchbook. I made this for you. It was a drawing of 3 people. Clearly a tall woman with wavy hair, Jennifer, a small girl, Emma, and a woman with long, straight hair, Sarah. They were holding hands under a rainbow. Sarah felt her eyes sting with emotion. Emma, this is beautiful. Thank you so much. It's so you don't forget us, Emma explained. I won't forget, Sarah promised, carefully putting the drawing in her purse. Jennifer paid the bill, while Emma put on her backpack. At the cafe exit, the rain had turned to a light drizzle. I'll call an Uber for you, Sarah offered, pulling out her phone. No need. I already did, Jennifer said, but then hesitated. Sarah, I know it was a pretty chaotic first date, but I'd really like to see you again. If you want, of course. I want, Sarah repeated. Very much. Jennifer smiled, that smile that lit up her whole face. Can I call you tomorrow? Please do. The Uber arrived, and Emma hugged Sarah before getting in the car. It was really nice meeting you, and don't forget to subscribe to Mom's channel. She stopped, confused. Oops, wrong thing. That's from the YouTube I watch. But call my mom, okay? Both women laughed, and Jennifer gave Sarah a quick kiss on the cheek before getting in the car. Sarah stood on the sidewalk, watching the car drive away, holding the bouquet of crushed sunflowers and Emma's drawing in her purse. She couldn't explain exactly why, but something inside her said that night had been the beginning of something important. 3 weeks had passed since that rainy first encounter at Rose's Cafe. Sarah and Jennifer had seen each other 4 times since then, always with Emma present, because Jennifer was still cautious about letting someone new fully enter her daughter's life. Not that Sarah minded. In fact, she was surprised by how much she enjoyed having Emma around. The girl was smart, funny, and had an incredible ability to turn the most tense situations light with her innocent comments. But Sarah knew things were about to get more complicated. They'd arranged to meet Sunday at Prospect Park, and this time, Jennifer had warned that they needed to talk about something important. Sarah arrived early, buying 3 smoothies from a cart near the park entrance. The day was sunny and warm, typical for late November in New York, and the park was full of families having picnics, people jogging, and children playing. She saw them from afar, Jennifer in a green floral dress and sandals, and Emma in a Yankees t-shirt and jean shorts. The girl waved excitedly when she spotted her. "Sarah! Sarah! Look!" Emma ran up to her, holding something in her hands. "My science teacher gave me an A on my test. Look here!" Sarah took the test and read, impressed. "Emma, this is amazing. You got every question right." "It's because you helped me study last week. You explained photosynthesis in a way I could understand." Jennifer arrived more slowly, with a tired smile. "Hi." "Hi," Sarah greeted her, noticing the slight dark circles. "Everything okay? You look tired." "Tough week at work," Jennifer explained. "But I'm better now. Especially because I'm spending Sunday with you two." Sarah handed out the smoothies, and they found a shady spot under a large tree to sit. Emma started playing with other children nearby, always under Jennifer's watchful eye. Hey, if you're enjoying following this story, give us a hand here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and come be part of this amazing community. "So," Sarah began, "you said you needed to talk about something important?" Jennifer took a deep breath. "I need to tell you about Emma's father." Sarah waited, giving Jennifer space to continue at her own pace. "We met in law school. I was 20. He was 21. It was that kind of intense young relationship. We thought it was true love, that it would last forever. Jennifer played with her smoothie without drinking. When I found out I was pregnant, we were still in our 4th year. It was a shock, but we decided it would work out. And did it? For a while. We got married right after graduation. I got pregnant with Emma, and the first few years were good. Hard, but good. Jennifer finally took a sip of the smoothie. But gradually, I started realizing there was something different about me. I looked at him and didn't feel that spark anymore, you know? And it wasn't just because we were tired from taking care of a baby or because marriage had become routine. It was something deeper, Sarah completed gently. Exactly. And then, when Emma was 3, I met a coworker. Jessica. Jennifer smiled sadly. She was an intern at the firm, and we started working together on a case. And I felt that spark that had disappeared with Michael. Except this time, it was with a woman. And what did you do? I panicked, Jennifer admitted. I had grown up in a traditional family. I had a small daughter, a marriage. But I couldn't stop thinking about her. Nothing happened between us. But I knew what I was feeling was real, and that it wasn't fair to continue in a marriage where I couldn't be completely myself. Sarah took Jennifer's hand, squeezing gently. It was the worst conversation of my life, Jennifer continued. I told Michael I thought I was a lesbian, that I didn't want to be married anymore. He was devastated, not from anger, but from sadness. He said he'd noticed I was distant, but never imagined it was this. How did things work out with Emma? Michael is a good father. Confused, hurt, but a good father. We did joint custody. She spends alternating weekends with him, and sometimes during the week too. And he met someone new 2 years ago, Amanda. They're engaged now. And how does Emma deal with all this? Better than I expected, to be honest. She was 3 when we separated, so she doesn't remember much of when we were a traditional family. For her, it's normal to have 2 houses, 2 rooms. Jennifer looked at her daughter playing. But I know sometimes it's hard for her. She asks me why other kids have their mom and dad living together and she doesn't. And what do you tell her? That sometimes adults are happier apart than together, and that love exists in many different forms, that there's not just one right way to be a family. Sarah was silent for a moment, processing everything. Thank you for telling me this. I needed you to know. Because if we keep seeing each other, and I really hope we do, you're going to be part of Emma's life. And I don't want you to go into this without knowing everything. Is there anything else I should know? Jennifer hesitated. Michael doesn't really like the idea of me dating women. Is he homophobic? Not exactly. He's never been disrespectful to me, but I think he still hopes this is a phase, you know, that eventually I'll go back to normal. Jennifer made air quotes. And he worries about how it will affect Emma. And how do you think it will affect her? I think it will teach her that love is love, regardless of gender. That she can be whoever she wants to be. That family comes in all shapes and sizes. Jennifer looked directly into Sarah's eyes. But I understand if this is too much for you. If you want to step back, I'll understand. Sarah thought about all the reasons she should be scared. It was complicated. There was a child involved. There was an ex-husband with questionable opinions. There was the possibility of getting hurt. But when she looked at Jennifer, at her honest and vulnerable eyes, at the way she had opened up completely, Sarah knew her answer. I don't want to step back. I want to step forward. The smile that lit up Jennifer's face was like the sun coming out from behind clouds. Emma came running back at that moment, sweaty and happy. Can I get ice cream? You can, both women answered at the same time, and then laughed. As they walked to the park ice cream shop, Emma in the middle holding both their hands, Sarah felt something warm spreading through her chest. This wasn't just a relationship. It was the possibility of a family. Different, yes, but no less real. December arrived, bringing intense cold and some complications Sarah hadn't anticipated. The first problem arose at school. Sarah had always been discreet about her personal life, but one of the teachers had seen her kissing Jennifer in the parking lot when she'd come to pick her up for lunch. The following Monday, the school principal, Mrs. Henderson, asked to speak with her. Sarah, you know I have nothing against your lifestyle, the woman began, with that tone of voice that made it clear she definitely had something against it. But you need to understand this is a public school, in a conservative neighborhood. We have parents who might not like knowing that a teacher, well. Sarah felt anger rising in her throat, but kept her voice calm. A teacher what, Mrs. Henderson? Gay? You can say the word. It's not a disease or a curse word. The principal turned red. I'm just saying maybe you should be more discreet. I am discreet. But I'm also not going to pretend my girlfriend doesn't exist. If straight teachers can talk about their spouses, so can I. But it's different. It's different why? Because I love a woman instead of a man? Sarah stood up. With all due respect, Mrs. Henderson, but if any parent complains about my sexual orientation, you can send them to talk to me. I haven't done anything wrong. The meeting ended with the principal uncomfortable and Sarah furious. She left the office and went straight to the bathroom, locking herself in a stall and trying to control her breathing. Her phone vibrated. It was a message from Jennifer. How's your day going, beautiful? Sarah typed back. Complicated. Tell you later? The response came immediately. Dinner. My place, 8 p.m. Emma will be with her dad. We'll talk, and I'll make that lasagna you love. Sarah smiled despite everything. I'll be there. But the problems didn't stop there. That week, Michael asked to have a serious conversation with Jennifer. Sarah was at Jennifer's house when he arrived to pick up Emma, and the tension in the air was palpable. Jennifer, we need to talk. About Emma, he said, glancing quickly at Sarah before returning his eyes to his ex-wife. Okay. Sarah, can you stay with Emma in her room for a few minutes? Sarah nodded, taking Emma by the hand. In the room, they started building a puzzle, but it was impossible not to hear the voices from the living room. Jennifer, I don't understand what the problem is. Michael's voice sounded tired. The problem is you're introducing girlfriends to our daughter. How do you think that affects her? Sarah isn't just a girlfriend. and Emma likes her. Of course she likes. She's a kid. She likes anyone who gives her attention. But have you stopped to think about what people will say at school? The classmates will start asking questions, making jokes. And you think the solution is for me to hide who I am? Pretend I'm alone forever? That's not it. But you can't keep bringing different women into Emma's life. Different women. Michael, I've only had 2 serious relationships since we separated, and you've been with Amanda for 2 years. And are already engaged. Don't come give me a lecture on stability. Sarah bit her lip, feeling guilty for causing problems. Emma was quiet beside her, pretending not to listen, but her eyes were fixed on the door. It's okay, Emma, Sarah said softly. Your parents are just talking. Adults sometimes disagree about things. Are they fighting because of you? Emma asked with that brutal childhood frankness. Sarah didn't want to lie. Partly, yes. Your dad is worried about you. But why? You're nice. You helped me with homework and play video games with me and didn't get mad when I spilled juice on the couch last week. I know, sweetie. But sometimes adults are afraid of changes, and I'm a big change in your life. My mom seems happier when you're here, Emma said, going back to the puzzle. She smiles more, and sings while making breakfast. She didn't do that before. Sarah felt her eyes sting. The conversation in the living room continued for a few more minutes before Michael finally left, taking Emma for the weekend with him. When Sarah came out of the room, she found Jennifer sitting on the couch, her face in her hands. Hey. Sarah sat beside her, pulling her into a hug. Want to talk about it? He said I'm being selfish, that I'm putting my happiness above Emma's well-being. Jennifer let out a bitter laugh. As if I don't spend every night awake wondering if I'm doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing, Sarah said firmly. Emma is happy. She loves you. And she told me you smile more when I'm around. Jennifer lifted her face, tears in her eyes. She said that? She did. And you know what? Kids are much more resilient and understanding than we give them credit for. Emma will grow up knowing that love comes in all forms. That family doesn't need to follow a specific model to be real. What if Michael is right? What if I'm being selfish? You're not being selfish for wanting to be happy, Jennifer. And you're not being selfish for wanting your daughter to see you being yourself, authentic and happy. Sarah held Jennifer's face in her hands. Emma won't grow up thinking she has to hide who she is because you showed her it's okay to be different. Jennifer pulled her into a kiss. Desperate, needy, full of all the emotions she was feeling. When they pulled apart, she whispered, I love you. Sarah blinked, surprised. They'd never said those words before. You don't have to say it back, Jennifer rushed. I know it's early and the situation is complicated. I love you too, Sarah interrupted. I love you and I love Emma, and I love the beautiful mess that is this crazy family we're building. And this time it was Sarah who pulled Jennifer into the kiss. December brought holiday parties and an important decision. Sarah had been invited to spend Christmas with Jennifer's family, something that left her equally excited and terrified. Meeting the family was a big step, especially considering that Jennifer's mother, Eleanor, was known for being traditional. "My mom will be polite," Jennifer assured as they drove to her parents' house in New Jersey. "She might not fully understand, but she loves me, and she loves Emma, and she'll love you too." "Or hate me," Sarah murmured. "She won't hate you," Emma said from the back seat. "Grandma Eleanor loves everyone, except Uncle Mark when he voted for the wrong candidate. But that passed." Sarah and Jennifer exchanged amused looks. The Hayes family home was large and welcoming, full of Christmas decorations and the smell of delicious food coming from the kitchen. When they entered, they were greeted by a wave of people. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all talking at once. Eleanor was a woman in her early 50s, with graying hair pulled into a bun and penetrating eyes that reminded Sarah of Jennifer's. She hugged her daughter and granddaughter, and then turned her attention to Sarah. "So, you're Sarah," she said, and Sarah couldn't decipher the tone. "Yes, ma'am. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Hayes. Thank you for having me in your home." There was a moment of tension, and then Eleanor broke into a smile. "Jennifer won't stop talking about you." "According to her, you're the best English teacher in New York, make divine tomato sauce, and let Emma win at video games on purpose." Sarah laughed, relieved. "I don't let her win on purpose. She's really good." "It's true," Emma confirmed. "I'm the Mario Kart champion." The rest of the evening was easier than Sarah expected. Jennifer's family was loud and warm, full of funny stories and heated discussions about politics that ended in laughter. Eleanor pulled Sarah aside at one point, while the others were busy with Secret Santa. "Can I ask you a question?" the older woman said. "Of course." "Do you love my daughter?" Sarah didn't hesitate. "I do, very much." "And Emma?" "Her too. She's incredible." Eleanor nodded, studying Sarah's face. "You know, when Jennifer told me she was a lesbian, I didn't understand at first. I'd grown up in a different time, with different ideas about how things should be." She looked at where Jennifer was laughing at something her brother had said. "But then I saw how happy she became when she finally accepted herself, and I realized what I really wanted was to see my daughter happy and being herself." "I understand. I see how she looks at you," Eleanor continued. "The same way my husband looks at me after 30 years of marriage. And I see how you look at her, and at Emma too. So welcome to the family, Sarah." "Just don't hurt my daughter, because then I'll have to kill you." She said the last part with a smile, but Sarah knew there was truth there. "I won't hurt her," Sarah promised. "I'll take care of her and Emma, like they're the most precious things in the world, because they are." Eleanor hugged her, and Sarah felt a lump in her throat. Later that night, as they drove home, Emma asleep in the back seat, and Sarah driving while Jennifer dozed in the passenger seat. Sarah thought about how her life had changed in just 6 months. 6 months ago, she was alone, almost leaving that empty cafe, resigned to another frustrating date. And now she had this. She had Jennifer, with her smile that lit up any room. She had Emma, with her sharp intelligence and huge heart. She had a family, not traditional maybe, but real and full of love. Folks, if you made it this far, thank you so much for following this journey. If you liked this story, subscribe to the channel for more touching stories like this. And leave in the comments. Do you believe in love at first sight, or do you prefer those loves that grow slowly? On New Year's Eve, Sarah and Jennifer took Emma to watch the fireworks in Times Square. The place was packed, but they managed to find a good spot to see the show. When the countdown began, Emma jumped excitedly. 10, 9, 8! Jennifer took Sarah's hand, intertwining their fingers. 7, 6, 5! Sarah looked at the two people beside her, the woman she loved, and the girl who had conquered her heart. 4, 3, 2. Happy New Year, everyone shouted together as the clock struck midnight. The sky exploded in colors. Red, blue, gold, silver. Emma jumped and pointed at each firework, amazed. Jennifer turned to Sarah and kissed her softly. Happy New Year, love. Thank you for coming into my life, into our lives, and making everything lighter. Thank you for letting me in, Sarah replied. For trusting me with your heart and your daughter. Hey. Emma tugged both their sleeves. Group hug. They laughed and hugged right there, in the middle of the crowd, with fireworks exploding above them and the entire city celebrating. Sarah thought about the blind date that rainy June day, about how she was about to give up when Emma appeared at the cafe door. My mom says she's sorry she's late. Those simple words had changed everything. Because sometimes love doesn't arrive on time. Sometimes it arrives late, soaked from the rain, holding crushed flowers and bringing an adorable daughter along. Sometimes it arrives in a way you never expected, but is exactly what you needed. And when it arrives, you realize that all the waiting, all the disappointments, all the frustrating dates that came before were worth it, because they brought you there, to that perfect moment. Sarah hugged the two most important people in her life against her, feeling gratitude fill every cell of her body. The new year was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see what came next. Because now, for the first time in a long time, Sarah wasn't alone. She had a family. Different, yes. Non-traditional for sure, but real, authentic, and filled with more love than she ever imagined possible. And that was more than enough. It was everything. I hope you loved this story as much as I loved writing it. If you want more touching and inspiring love stories, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share with anyone you think will enjoy it. See you in the next one.